Hi, my name's Erica. I make pottery, and today is January 24th, 2025. 1 year ago today, I quit my job to pursue my passion of pottery full time. It has been 365 days, 12 months of trying to turn a hobby into a career. Now you may be wondering how that went. I'm here today to tell you everything. The highs, the lows, what I learned. I'm gonna share my actual revenue numbers, which is really scary. And then I'm gonna talk about what is next for me in 2025. Over the past 12 months, I have been journaling religiously. These are my 5 journals from my first year as a full-time potter. A lot of good stuff in here. It's been really cool to go through these, see how much I grew over the past year. We're gonna go back to day 1, January 24th, 2024. I had quit my job a couple weeks earlier. My last day was January 23rd. So January 24th was truly my first day trying this full time. Today is day 1 of self-employment. I can tell that I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm like, day 1, we're gonna exercise, vlog, make pottery, LOL. We'll see what I can get done. The main goal is pottery, the rest is secondary. So I was going into this very, very optimistic. And I had a reason to go into this very optimistically. 2023 was the biggest sales year for me. So I started officially selling pottery in 2019, just selling things on Instagram, moved over to Etsy, and then eventually moved over to my own website. So first I'm gonna tell you about the number of pieces that I sold between 2019 and 2024. So in 2019, I sold 31 pieces. 2020, I sold 119 pieces. 2021, scaled back a little bit, only sold 62 pieces. 2022, I sold 191 pieces. 2023, I sold 376 pieces. And then in 2024, so this past year, my first year as a full-time potter, I sold 651 pieces of pottery. That's crazy. Like, that's nuts. Look at that line, how it just grows over the years. Now, when I was looking at how much money I made, this graph is going to change a little bit. This next graph is going to talk about the actual money that I brought in. Now, keep in mind, this has not taken out taxes, this hasn't taken out shipping, materials, anything like that. This is purely just money I brought in. This is really scary sharing this information, but I feel like I have benefited a lot from people being transparent about how much money they make as an artist. I think the first person that I saw do this was Not Work Related on Instagram. You should go check out her account. This year she shared her actual revenue, which was really helpful for me. I'm gonna share mine as well. Please be nice to me. So in 2019, my total revenue for the year was a little over $1,000. 2020, it was $4,000. 2021, remember, we scaled back a little bit and it was $2,600. 2022, my total revenue for the year was $16,000. 2023, my total revenue for the year was $38,500. This is when I was like, I can quit my job. I can try doing this full time. So in 2024, my total revenue for the year was $35,995. Now, let's just compare, okay? So the jump in the number of pieces that I sold between 2023 and 2024 was a pretty huge jump. It was this percentage. I can't calculate it right now, but I'll have it right here. But I actually made less money in 2024 than I did in 2023. So now the question is, why did that happen? Let's dive into what exactly made up the revenue for 2024 and how I got to that number. All right, let's sweep those graphs away. Now we're just specifically gonna talk about 2024 in numbers. So I sold pieces in 3 different ways. First was in online sales. This is where I'd been selling all of my pottery up until this point. I'd sprinkled in a couple of in-person sales over the years, but online was always my main source of income. I sold 295 pieces of pottery between January 24th, 2024 and January 24th, 2025. In person, I sold 179 pieces of pottery. I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I talked about kind of the pros and cons of selling pieces in person. You should definitely go check it out. It's a great video. And then something that came in about halfway through the year is wholesale. I had been curious right when I started doing this full time about entering wholesale And then I met another artist about halfway through the year who told me about this website called Fair. I also have a video on my experience with Fair. You should check it out. But in terms of wholesale, I sold 179 pieces of pottery, which is really crazy. That's a lot of pieces that are going to other boutiques. Now, I think something that's really interesting about the number of pieces that I sold versus the amount of money that I made in 2024, I'm gonna put two charts here that is gonna show the distribution of pieces that I sold between in-person, online, and wholesale. And then I'm gonna show the money that was brought in by those three avenues as well. So you can see how it's a little bit different. In terms of the money that I brought in, it's quite a bit less for wholesale versus in person, even though I sold the same number of pieces. And that's just simply because when I'm selling wholesale, I am selling my pieces at a lower price because these wholesalers are taking on these pieces and then selling them in their stores, so they need to make a profit as well. It's been a journey to kind of like mentally accept that I'm making less money off of wholesale. When you look back at this year, that's 179 pieces that I would not have been able to sell myself. Although it's like less than I could have made if I sold it on my own, clearly I could not have sold those pieces on my own because I didn't. So let's talk about why my revenue was lower in 2024 than it was in 2023, even though pottery was my full-time job in 2024, and it wasn't in 2023. So you need a little bit of context to understand this. I made a video where I go through my pottery journey a couple months ago. You can check it out here. In that video, I talk about how I had a very, very popular interior designer shout out my pottery in 2022. It sold out my website, it blew up my account in a small way, but it exposed me to a lot of people who are interested in my work. I tried to get as many pieces to those people as possible in 2022, but where it really, really happened was 2023. I made about 60% of my revenue for 2023 in a singular pre-order sale. Just to kind of give you an idea, my most popular item that year was the charcoal flower vase, and I sold 131 of them in 2023. 2024, I sold 17 of them. Now, before I quit my job, I had a lot of conversations with my dad. He's a guy in business, so he's a really smart guy. He was very encouraging of me always. But he did tell me, you just have to be careful. You didn't already sell your pieces to all of your existing customers. You want to make sure that you can make new pieces to sell to those same customers or find new customers. And I think what happened in 2024 is I wasn't really able to find a ton of new customers. When I look back at everything that I did in 2024, there was a huge focus on making new items, more household items, lower in cost. I figured, if this is lower in cost, maybe more people will buy it, which you can see how that ended up happening, how I sold so many more pieces this year, but didn't end up making more money. And then I think the biggest thing, how is it that I dedicated so much more time to pottery, literally all of my time, and then wasn't able to even make as much money as I did the year before? It's really easy to just like look at that and say, maybe this just isn't right. Maybe I can't do this. What I'm coming out of 2024 with is just that it was an amazing learning experience. It has really helped me to focus on what I think can help me grow the most, which is focusing on my core products and just trying to spread those out as much as I can. Before I talk about my goals for 2025, I do have a pretty big life update. I've been nervous about how to share this because the image that I have curated here online is, I quit my job! I'm a full-time potter! I'm so glad that I decided to leave my job when I did, and that I took all of last year to just really focus on building up my business and, becoming a better artist. When I quit my job, I had a certain amount of money saved that I believed could get me through about 6 months to a year of doing this full time. And I spent it. I traveled a lot. I had a lot of fun. I went to concerts. I literally went to Europe 3 times last year. It was not a cheap year for me. I don't have any regrets. I was approaching the end of the year and the money that I had set aside was almost gone. So I kind of had a decision to make. I was like, all right, are we going to dip into other savings? Are we going to change the living situation so that I'm not paying an exorbitant amount in rent every month? Or are we going to look for another way to make money? An old coworker of mine then reached out and said that she had this contract position in marketing. Basically, like 30 seconds after she reached out to me, I was like, this is meant to be. Yeah, so I interviewed and I did start that job in December. I'm about a month into it at this point. I always knew that there was a possibility that I would either need to or want to go back to working full-time. I think it was probably a combination of both, the reason why I went back. Obviously, there was a financial need there, but more than that, I do think that there is a value in having balance. Balance meaning, multiple sources of income, but also balancing your time. Having all of my time dedicated to pottery, I don't know if I was always the most effective with my time. Having a job and doing pottery kind of in the spare time, I'm learning that I actually get a lot more done in the time that I have left, which is good. Like I said, I'm about a month into this marketing contract job and I'm really loving it. The people that I'm working with are amazing. The company that I'm working for is incredible, and I just feel so incredibly fortunate that this job came at the exact time that I needed it. I started therapy at the end of last year, so that's been a huge, huge help. But working with my therapist, I decided on a word for 2025, and that word is cultivate. With a lot of changes that happened at the end of 2024, I kind of looked at 2025 as this blank slate. Something my therapist said to me is she was like, you have this blank slate of a life right now, and you can choose what you want to put into that life. You can choose the hobbies that you want to throw in, the job that you want to throw in, the people that you want to put in it. You get to decide what you're bringing in to this year, to your life. And it's your job to cultivate the best life that you can. My goal is to just be a more well-rounded person. I don't know if doing pottery full-time really led me to being a more well-rounded person. Spent a lot of time doing pottery, a lot of time by myself. Part of having a well-rounded life in 2025 for me is going to be having a stable source of income, my full-time job, which I'm so grateful for. And then the other part of having a well-rounded life is to continue doing pottery. I want to focus on my core collection. I want to make lots of those things. Part of that involves doing wholesale, build up my wholesale account, continue these relationships with my wholesalers, get reorders, really build that up so that I can get my pottery in so many more places and in front of new faces. Another huge, huge, huge priority for me is YouTube. I cannot explain to you how fulfilling it is creatively to create YouTube videos about pottery. I love telling stories. I have a lot of projects that I want to do in pottery and I want to film all of them. So my goal for 2025 is to do 2 videos a month. Basically, if you're keeping track, the goals to cultivate a well-rounded life are to keep working my awesome marketing job, do wholesale, and really, really keep it up on YouTube. Just on a personal note, I have a goal to try something new every month. I already tried something new in January. If you're curious what that is, ask me in the comments and I'll let you know. And then for February, my something new, it has to do with pottery. So there will be a vlog on that and I'm really excited for that. When I look at 2025, I just have so much hope. I'm already 24 days into this year. I feel content, I feel hope, I feel secure financially and working on it emotionally and mentally. I'm just so grateful to be here in the position that I'm in 2025. I'm 31 years old. This year is gonna bring me into 32. And I'm so excited to see, what I'm gonna make here on this channel, the pottery that I'm gonna make, the wholesale accounts that I'm just gonna nurture and keep growing. I can't wait to come back next year and let you know how much I made in 2025, how many pieces I sold, and how I grew, because there's other ways to mark growth as well. A year ago today, I didn't even have a YouTube channel, and now I have a YouTube channel, and as of recording this, I have like 1,200 subscribers, which feels huge to me. I'm like, that's crazy. There's actually some cool YouTube stats. Just in the last quarter, so between October and January, I had 183,000 views on my shorts and 2,183 watch hours. I'm like, 2,183 hours of people watching my pottery videos. That's cool. That's way cool. So I can't wait to see what the growth looks like next year. If there's any other artists that are out there and watching this, I just want to say it is so cool to have a hobby. It is so cool to be good at something and to have a skill and to create art. And however you do that, whether that's quitting your job and making it full time, or if it's just making it at night and on weekends, your contribution to the world and to art in general is so needed. It's so valuable. So make art. If you want to sell it, sell your art. It's so rewarding. It has totally changed my life, being able to create art and share it with other people. And I plan on doing it for the rest of my life. In what capacity? I'm not sure. You know, last year the capacity was, it was my full-time job. This year, it's a little bit different. The next year, it could be a little bit different too. I'm so glad that I found pottery when I did and that I'm just gonna get to keep making it forever. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, I really, really hope that you would like and subscribe. It's fun to have a little subscriber like you. Right now it is 8:07 a.m. I filmed this really early in the morning because your girl's got a job. So 8:07 a.m. I'm gonna go eat some breakfast, try to start working by 8:30. Thanks for being here and I'll see you next week. Bye.